Is this still the right time for the webinar? Or am I off?
No, I think it's right.
Okay. Because I'm in a completely different time zone / country, so I'm never really sure. But
I'm from Canada, so I think we're in the same time zones.
Okay.
You're from the US?
Yeah, I'm in San Diego.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so I'm in Pacific time. Okay. People are starting to show up.
It's Richie.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hi.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, good. How's everyone?
Good.
Great.
Hello, everybody.
Morning.
Hey.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Good.
Richie, did you see my last Facebook presentation?
When was that? Sorry, David.
It was like a month or so ago.
Oh, okay. Was that through Six Figure or something you did separately?
You know, it's hard to remember. I was just curious.
Yeah. I did it.
On everyone's background with Facebook ads, and you know, if you guys were familiar with it, or like the level of depth I should go into.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen it. Don't know if you got a recording, but.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm basically going to be doing it tonight, so I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't boring anybody.
I don't think you'll do that.
Okay.
Oh, buddy. Hey, it's okay, Bubba. Hey. Come on. Come on. Come on, sweetie. Come on. You're okay. Did you wake up and there was no one near?
There should be a people participants. Get started.
Come on. Hello. Hang on. Let me just get organized. Okay. Ready? There you go, sweetheart. Hi. Oh, hi. Is Ellie actually jumping on, or is it just us?
It's just us. Ellie's actually traveling to Texas at the moment.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, David, have you got full control of like how you can mute everybody and unmute?
I don't know if I can mute other people. I haven't tried.
I believe there's a side panel that will. I'm actually on my phone, not my computer Zoom, but you should be able to go to a side like a little button that says more, and you should be able to mute all participants.
No,
Maybe not.
I don't see it.
Oh, okay. It'll actually be because you're logged in under Ellie's Zoom account. So if everybody can just mute their own microphones, that would be awesome.
Sure.
And David, this is actually being automatically recorded, so we can then put this up into the Six Figure System program.
Okay, sure. Well, before everyone's muted, do you guys want to give me a quick, just a very, very brief synopsis of any Facebook advertising you've done or any sort of advertising knowledge you guys have? Just so I know sort of your background. Just real quick, if anyone wants to just jump out, if you've run any ads before.
Have run ads and get really confused by it all, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have run ads before. It's Daleen, and so I'm a little bit knowledgeable about the. I've run them through the Power Editor, so I do have a little bit of knowledge. I'm definitely not expert, and I'm excited to learn more.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'll basically, kind of start from the top. I did a presentation. All right. If everybody wants to mute themselves real quick, I'll just go into it. I basically did a presentation for a lot of entrepreneurs at San Diego Startup Week, and I showed it to Ellie, and it helped out one of her groups before, and I think that's why she asked me to present this time. So I will present, and I'll leave plenty of time for questions and all that. All right. So does everybody see my screen? Just kind of give me a nod. Yeah? Okay, cool. All right, so there's a couple things. I had this whole presentation. We don't have to get into it. I can just give you guys basically the gist of it. But a lot of times it's easier to figure out what your competitors are doing, and you don't really have to think of them as actual competition. You can think of them just as people you want to be inspired by, people that you want to model your strategies after, people that are successful and you can kind of see what they're doing. So essentially, if you want to get anything out of this, you can find out what your competitors are getting traffic, develop a customer avatar, and that's stuff that Ellie's been helping you with as far as, really digging deep into what are people's interests, their age range, their gender, even the types of jobs that they have, right? And I'll show you how you can use this information. All right. So there's a few different ways to do competitor research, and each one of these topics goes super deep. So I'm basically just going to touch on it real quick and show you guys how you can use that information. So for example, there's a little Chrome extension called SimilarWeb. And if you put that on Chrome and you go to a website, let's say it's another coaching practice or even any website really, any sort of website where they're trying to sell something or are offering services, you can see how much traffic they're getting if you go to an overview, and you can just get this. You can go to the SimilarWeb website, but you can also just get the Chrome extension. That's what I have. And you can see how much traffic they're getting. Now, obviously for certain types of websites, they're going to be tons and tons of traffic, but you can see under sources and under social, if they're getting their traffic from Facebook. And if they're getting their traffic from Facebook, they're most likely paying for it. And you can look up their ads just by going to their Facebook page, right? And that's a really quick way to sort of analyze if someone's actually using Facebook, because people have different ways of getting traffic, right? And there's all different ways. Some people have really great YouTube followings, right? So they might not be doing advertising. So if you try to do the same thing they're doing, you're gonna have to do it slightly differently, or it might not be successful because they might be getting tons of free traffic, right, from YouTube or whatever, or something else that they're doing. So you can sort of model your strategies after people who are already using Facebook, or at least you can understand what they're doing. So one of these ways that you can get sort of inspired by ads is going to this website called Moat. It's completely free. And basically it analyzes brands, and you can put in any brand. And I suggest you just kind of mess around in it and just sort of have fun and put in just different brands that you know of to see what kind of ads they're running. Because then you'll start getting an understanding of the type of things that work for certain audiences, okay? So in those examples, I'll point those out real quick. So here is Facebook Audience Insights, and I'll put this in the chat once I know how to figure it out. But basically it's facebook.com/ads/audience insights. I can try to figure out how to do that, but I'm not sure if I can do that while screen sharing and stuff. Okay, so basically you can put in different countries, and all the stuff that you got from your niche and customer avatar analysis, you can put in here, and you can start learning more about your audience, okay? So for example, instead of United States, let me put in Australia, right? And I can take off United States, and you can start seeing like broad demographic information. Then you can start saying, okay, well, I want to target people who are 30 to 35, okay? And you can even choose if it's men or women. And then you can focus it even more. You can say, I want, and these are all the different types of things you can put in Facebook ads. Okay, so this is really good preliminary information. So you can put in things like, I want them to be interested in fitness, for example. And there's all these different fitness things that you can choose specifically if you wanted to. So you can really dive deep into what they're into. And this is just a good way to get like sort of basic understanding of them. So you might not want to hit all of fitness and wellness. You might want to hit meditation and yoga, right? Have very specific things. For food, you might want to have people who are only into organic food, right? And you can start learning more and more about your audience. So just for an example, put in your customer avatar in here and start learning more things about them. And what you'll see is that it'll tell you sort of like the average of the group that you're selecting versus the rest of the people on Facebook in that area. So it'll say, for example, that those people that are into fitness wellness, there's a much higher chance that they're engaged and married, and there's a much higher chance that they're in grad school, right? You see, this is a plus 63% versus being in high school. And that makes sense because I'm hitting people who are 30 to 35. So of course there'd be a much less chance they'd be in high school, I would hope, because that wouldn't make any sense if they were still in high school. Then you can go to page likes, and you can see the different types of things that they like and the things that they're interested in. And these are types of things that can help build out your customer avatar, but also your targeting, right? You can start targeting and give you sort of inspiration and say, okay, well, a lot of these people are trying to lose baby weight, for example. So that could be something that I could target. I could target those types of interests, but I could also put that in my messaging as well. So really take a look at this. And for example, like these are the types of stores that they would shop at. These are the type of local businesses they're interested in. And it goes on and on. I mean, these are types of things that, I mean, I don't even know a lot of these things because I've never been to Australia, unfortunately. But you can see that you could get a lot of interests and kind of put those in and say, okay, you know, maybe there's a lose baby weight group that I can target or at least know about, and so I can sort of target that in my advertising, in my messaging, right? And you can just see like the relevance, right? So these types of things have a very, very high relevance for this specific group, right? And then there's even things like, you know, the location. You can take a look at, you know, which locations you want to target, and activity. Activity isn't as useful, but it is useful to see, like, for example, devices, because you can target specific devices in Facebook as well. So you might want to only target people who are on their iPhone, right? Because if it's very relevant to your specific niche, then maybe they're on mobile or mobile and desktop, right? But you shouldn't only do desktop. So right off the bat, you can see that you shouldn't do just desktop advertising, because that would be a bad idea. And you might want to focus on iPhone, for example. The household, there can be different types of information. Oh, I only have the US for this, so I might need to kind of switch up the example here. But household can be useful because you can see if, and these are all things that you can target as well. You can target people with very, very high value homes, people who are purchasers, and this, I mean, I don't want to get too into it, but it just take a look around and see if there's things that you can learn about your audience, right? For example, people in this age range and in fitness and wellness have a high percentage of buying things online, right? So this is all stuff that you can take a look at. And I would suggest that you try out a bunch of different interests that you were going to target anyway and see if there's other things you should add, okay? So on to the next thing, Moat. I just put in Tony Robbins, right? And there's a bunch of different brands. It's any major brand that you want to use. So for example, if you wanted to model some of your ads on how, you know, Tony Robbins does his advertising, because obviously he's going to be spending a lot on advertising, you can see the types of stuff he's running, and you can even like copy these images and even change them around in Photoshop, right? This is what a lot of advertisers will do. They'll see like the overall format. And if you go to a site like Canva, has anybody ever used Canva before? Have you know Canva? Okay, there's a couple of you. Seems like everybody knows Canva, so I won't cover Canva unless you really want me to, but basically you would just try to do a similar type of, let's see. You do a similar type of style in Canva, try to do a similar layout. Obviously you wouldn't even want to have the same layout. So it would be, it would just be like where you would actually put in your ads. Oh. Anyway, so that's basically the basics of it. So another place that I go to take a look at how to do really cool Facebook ads is this Facebook page called My Top Kickstarter Projects. This is a page that some of the top Facebook advertisers will look at to get inspiration, because these guys are pretty much always using best practices. And it seems from other Facebook advertisers I've talked to that that this particular group seems to be making money off of Kickstarter projects and is probably advertising maybe for a percentage of the revenue or just getting paid to help launch different projects. So basically, they're launching new projects to an audience that has never seen some of these things before. So you can see what gets attention, right? So right off the bat, you can see that they will do a lot of different types of very simple imagery, right? They'll use some capital letters. They'll use emojis, like this fire is in a lot of different ads. And it's actually very useful. A lot of times they'll use a arrow to get attention really quickly because it's like, wait, what is that pointing at? You know, it makes me want to like figure out like, what are you referencing in this? And then they use a lot of things like, we call it social proof, where it'll say, you know, it's world-class chefs, it's used by professionals, you know, that sort of thing. Then, you know, you can kind of see the types of things that they're running. You can see that a lot of stuff they'll put up is like a little bit controversial, like, hey, it puts this to shame. Obviously that probably doesn't work for coaching, but it's just a way to kind of get some insight on, you know, just different inspiration. You might want to try out different styles of ads. So you can see like, okay, what are they pointing at? What exactly is this? And it just piques your curiosity, right? So that's one way to do it. Okay, so to continue on, and it goes on and on. You can actually just type in a part of an ad or a company and just look down the Facebook feed and see what kind of stuff they've been running, right? So for example, I just put in free shipping straight up in the Facebook search bar, and I was able to get different types of ads that used free shipping. And I was able to see which companies, which Facebook groups, Facebook pages, and then you can even go to landing pages and figure out what their landing pages look like. So here's some basics on how to use Facebook. First of all, you want to have a Facebook pixel, right? And if you don't have a Facebook account yet, it's fine. Just create a Facebook account. And then when you go into your account, you'll basically be able to create a pixel. And it's very, very important. Create a pixel and install it on your site. And basically it's just a piece of code that you put on I think the header of the site. So everyone who visits your site, it'll start analyzing the audience. So basically what's happening is that Facebook it'll go right here, and you'll see that in your ads manager, you can just go right to pixels. You can put a pixel for, you know, each company or website that you want to have. Basically what Facebook's doing is that it's analyzing all the activity on itself on Facebook, and it sees what kind of pages you like, the things that you're interacting with, your interests, and that's how it knows if you like certain types of, you know, fitness, for example, because it starts tracking what you're doing, and it starts tracking if you're a purchaser of certain things. It starts tracking if you like to watch videos, right? And even your political types of information. So this is a huge infographic of all the different types of things that you can target in Facebook. Obviously, it's really massive, but this is all the stuff that it's tracking about you and everybody on Facebook. So it's actually really crazy, and you can really get pretty detailed. And when you put the Facebook pixel on your site, you're able to see, at least you're connecting that information from Facebook. So you're able to connect that data of, are these people on my site purchasers or not? And when you connect that, then you can start doing things like targeting people who are only going to sign up, for example. And, you know, maybe some people just show up really quickly and, you know, leave. Maybe certain genders do better, certain age groups do better. So it's really important to have the Facebook pixel on there. Plus, you can see when you get signups, which ad is actually successful. Obviously, that's the most important part. So these are all types of things that you want to take a look at. And one of the ways to sort of think about advertising is that you want to sort of narrow down and get these like Venn diagrams of, you don't want all these people. You want the ones that have all the different things in common that you want, and you have a very specific audience, because Facebook advertising and advertising in general is really expensive. So you want to start off with like the most focused group, not obviously not too small, but you want to just start off with maybe the top 100,000 or 200,000 people. You're not going to actually reach that many, but as far as like you're focusing your audience, like a lot of times when I'm creating an audience, it'll be around like 500,000 people to start off with, and that's still pretty big. Kind of depends what you're focused on, but you want to have like it needs to be specific enough, but with enough room to grow as well. So when you have a Facebook campaign, there's different types of parts of the funnel, the sales funnel as we call it. So for example, awareness, you really don't want to worry too much about that. That's just getting people to look at your videos, that kind of thing. Then there's consideration. This can be useful. A lot of times you can use traffic or engagement. Like if you have a really cool post and you just want people to comment on it, you want people to see it, you might want to have engagement. But most of the time you want to have conversions, and that's actual signups to your form and get people interested. And then it'll show up on your pixel, and then it'll let that information back on your ads manager, so you know which ads, which strategies are actually working. So there's tons of different types of ads. They're always coming up with new stuff, but the main ones are these first three. You can have a carousel with a few different images. A lot of times you can just have one cool image from Canva, and then if you have any videos, try out a video as well, because videos can be really engaging, and it can get a lot of interest. Because if you have a really cool either testimonial, or you're trying to introduce yourself to a new audience, that's a really cool way to do it. And for videos, you don't have to be like too paranoid about having like really high-end equipment. Most of the time, people do Facebook Lives on cell phones, and cell phones in general have really good cameras now. In fact, I've been really impressed lately in the last couple of years. I know people who have entire YouTube channels and they shoot on their cell phone camera, and it's actually hard to tell the difference. So, don't be too worried about like the technical part of making a video. You can make a video pretty easily. Okay, so a lot of this wasn't really formatted for Google Sheets. It was actually a PowerPoint on a different computer. So the thing about Facebook Pixels is that it takes a lot of information to actually train it and get it to understand what you're looking for. And, that can take a lot of time, right? So just keep that in mind. When you're first sending out advertising for Facebook, it might not know what you're really going for, because it's trying to figure out, based on who's converting, who's signing up, who else to target across Facebook. But until it starts seeing a lot of signups, it's not going to really know. It's just going to start kind of sending it out vaguely, and it's not going to be as effective. And the first part is always the roughest. So just keep that in the back of your head. And if you have any other information that you can use to help boost it up, that's a really, really good thing. And different companies will have different sorts of assets like CRMs and sales data and email lists. So if you have any sort of email lists, you can actually upload those lists, even if it's not your list, even if it's just a list of people that you really want to have as customers. You can actually upload that to Facebook, and you can either target that list, or you can actually have it analyze the list and target people who are similar to that. Okay, so I don't want to get too complicated because it's already a lot of information, or not. I don't, it depends. Some people, I don't want to be like too technical because it'd be a little bit confusing. But there's how Facebook analyzes it is there's three main types of campaigns. So there's core campaigns, custom campaigns, and lookalike campaigns. So a core campaign would be you just picking different interests, demographics, or combinations of it. Okay, so try it out. Try building out. You don't have to launch it. You can have a paused campaign and just try building out an ad set or a few ad sets really. And you want to, just use their basic targeting. That's as far as most people will ever know about Facebook, honestly, is just these core campaigns. And a lot of times even that can be extremely useful. But here's an example. You can have people who are interested in specific things, and you can actually have it combined with people who are also frequent shoppers, or people who are interested in this, or have a certain political affiliation, or they're a certain age range. So you get all these different types of, just like that Venn diagram, all these different types of people and focuses, and you build out your ad set. And you can actually have just several ad sets with different variations. And for example, some people, I know advertisers who work for, different e-commerce types of clients and that sort of thing. And each one of these would be a different ad set, right? So think about just building out, just for example, just different types of interests based on your customer avatar. A custom campaign is a little more, is basically not using Facebook's information, but it's using your own information, right? So that can be really, really powerful. And this is stuff that you have to build up over time. So if you have any of this stuff, and that's why you need to input your pixel onto your site as soon as possible, because as you start getting more traffic, you can do things like target the most active users on the site, right? You can target people who've only been to specific parts of your website. You can target people who have went to sign up on a newsletter, let's say, but never signed up for to actually buy a coaching service or a product from you. Let's say they wanted to actually buy something, but they left, they abandoned their shopping cart. You can target those types of people. And in general, this is just called like remarketing. But if you have a newsletter list, you could upload that and immediately start letting them know that you have, a really cool service, or you want to start coaching, or you want to upsell them, right? You can actually push people further down the sales funnel, and you can also keep on upselling them based on where they are in their process. So lookalike is actually one of the most useful. And once you get to this point, you can actually make a huge amount of signups, because at this point it's generated a lot of information. You've got data from your signups, and you've also got data from your lists and all sorts of things. So basically a lookalike campaign is that the Facebook AI, which is constantly analyzing and constantly getting refined, it is trying to find similar groups of people as to whatever you're asking it to. So you can ask it to find a similar type of person as the ones in your email list. You can ask for similar types of people. This is actually a huge one. The similar types of people who have purchased from you or signed up from you. Because then when it sends out its advertising, it will focus and try to find out all those similarities across its network and expand it and show the ads to people who are very relevant and very likely to sign up. And that's really when you get successful, is when you do a lookalike of a very high value list. For example, let's say you've been doing coaching for a while and you have a few people, let's say, and these aren't people who necessarily signed up, but let's say you have a few hundred people who signed up for a really high value package. They were really interested. Maybe you didn't close all of them, but they're all high value. They could have paid for it, and they're really, really valuable to you. You can actually target just a high value part of your list. Or you can target just a lookalike of everyone who's ever been to your site. Even if you've never done Facebook advertising before, just having the Facebook pixel on your site, if you're getting people from blogs and YouTube and your other types of outreach programs, and people are just visiting your site because they like it, you can actually target similar types of people who have just been to your site. So think about that. And then ultimately, the thing about Facebook and advertising in general is you want to find out, who's valuable and how much it costs to acquire them. So as you get signups, you start understanding, okay, maybe it takes me $50 to get someone to sign up. Maybe it takes me $100. Maybe it takes me 10, right? Because each thing is going to be different. A webinar might be $10 to get someone to sign up for that, but to get someone to sign up straight away for your coaching service, it might be 200, right? So you start figuring out the different parts of what you're offering and how much it costs to get them to acquire. And then you figure out how valuable that person is. How long do they stay on as a client? How much money you're really making off of each acquisition. And then there's ultimately this formula, which is how to scale up your advertising. So you find out ultimately how much, how valuable they are. So let's say you get like $1,000 per client and it took you $200 or $300 to actually acquire them. Then you actually know how much money you can put into advertising the next month. And a lot of businesses don't even know this. They'll only vaguely understand what the cost per acquisition or CPA is. And they don't even really analyze how much their lifetime value is for the customer, because there's also ways to increase that. You can work on advertising and really try to get your cost per acquisition lower and lower, but there's only going to be so much you can do. If you work on both at the same time, have continuity programs, have programs that you can sell to them after your main offer, or upsells for things like retreats and all these other things, then you can really get way more lifetime value out of somebody. And then you can put way more into advertising. And then when you test out new things, it's all right, even if it takes $500, to acquire somebody. But if you're selling $10,000 packages, you need to understand these numbers, because then you can also plan out your next month. A lot of times, companies and businesses will say, okay, well, our advertising budget is like, $5,000 a month or whatever it is. But why would it be a stable thing if you're getting more value than it takes to acquire? Then really you should be increasing and scaling, and that's what they call scaling. You could be scaling up your advertising every single month, because if you're making twice as much off of customer lifetime value than it takes to acquire them, then the next month you could theoretically double your advertising and your company could grow that much faster. And then 6 months down the road or a year down the road, you're doing dozens of times more than somebody who's just got a stable, we got $500 a month in advertising only type of mindset. This is really that scaling mindset. And, a lot of these things are further down the road, but you can understand them and know about them. So it can be really, really useful. So that's basically like the main points of what I was going to cover. It's been about 40 minutes. Does anybody have any questions or wanted to talk about anything?
Yeah, for the Facebook pixel to work, do you have to have a website?
Yes, this is for a website, and it's for it can just be a landing page. It can literally just be the page that you have your form on.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I got a question as well. I think I have a Facebook pixel on my page. Somebody put it on there. I can't remember where they put it or what they did with it, but yeah, this kind of stuff goes way over my head. Do you recommend outsourcing this stuff? Like everything you said makes a lot of sense, but I don't imagine myself spending any time getting to know it. Would you recommend just outsourcing it and letting someone deal with it, or learning like 5, 10, 20% of it and then just knowing enough so I can get by? Or like, yeah, what would be your recommendation? Actually teach myself this stuff, or just outsource it to someone who loves it? Because I don't.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I mean, that's kind of a personal question too. I think that it's good to at least understand some of the stuff and to just play around with building a couple ads, because it sounds more complicated than it is. I'm giving you like the whole background of how everything's working. When you actually get in there, they've made it as easy as possible. You can actually just target, people in your city in a specific age range really, really quickly. You could have an ad up, and it might, even if it took you like an hour to figure it out, you at least will start understanding how it works. And then even if you do outsource it, you will know what they're doing and if it's actually worth what you're paying them to do. Because there's too many people who will do it for you and just take your money and then might not do necessarily a great job. Yeah, but it's really not as complicated as I'm making it sound. That's what I was worried I was going to be too complex. But honestly, you could go in there and just do a couple of test ad sets, and I'd recommend that. Just play around with it.
You can only have one pixel, can't you?
You can actually
page or
yeah, you can only have one per page. So just worry about that for now. You can technically have more Facebook pixels to in an account, but don't worry about that.
No, because I've got 2 businesses. So
okay. Yeah,
I've got
each business could have its own pixel, exactly.
Sorry. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Each pixel would have each company would have its own pixel. Every time you create a Facebook business, it basically can create its own pixel, and each
so you
one
can create that through each page.
Well, each business would have its own business, right? I mean, it gets
Its
a little
own page.
You mean Facebook page?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have a Facebook business for each Facebook page, exactly. Yeah, so
Okay.
I guess the first thing would just be go into Facebook advertising and just try out making a, just run through, like literally just go through and pick conversions or pick traffic and, try out making an ad. You can make an ad real quick in Canva, and you can just try out some messaging for people who might be interested in what you're offering, and test out your customer avatar.
So, David,
Sorry.
how do you know that your Facebook pixel is actually working
Oh, that's a great question. That's a great question.
off of your page?
It'll actually tell you.
So where do I find that data? Okay.
Yeah. Let me pull it up. I'll try not to, blow up anybody's personal, because I have a lot of access to a lot of different, for example, this is Ellie's, but, okay, so here's an example. So you literally just go into your ad account, right? And, here's all these different things. And you can actually take a look, and you can take a look at your pixels. So for example, when you want to start, just click here or click on Ads Manager to create your first ad. And you can go to your pixels, and it'll tell you. See? And it'll say, see this is green? It actually will tell you what happened. So you can see here, I created a pixel for one thing, and then I created another pixel as well. So you can actually create more pixels. I was just trying to keep it simple. But you can actually see that it's got page views, it's got how many people viewed specific types of content, and even purchases. Right? So you can actually see what it's actually been doing and when it happened, really. So the fact that this is green means that it is getting information. So when you first install it, this pixel installation complete won't be there. It'll say create a pixel. And then as people visit your page and it is start to pick up traffic, and most things won't be under page view, right? It will turn green and it'll tell you, oh, this many people. And is that useful? You can see how many people are actually visiting your website. So there you go.
Thank you.
Sure.
I agree with Zulu too. I don't like doing this kind of stuff. And I paid a Grace Lever program once before to do technology kind of stuff like this. And we got left to do our Facebook ads pretty much alone with just worksheets that she was putting on a video. And I followed them all exactly as her video, and I still couldn't create a Facebook ad. Facebook kept rejecting it. It kept saying, you know, it was incorrect. But I admit that I absolutely hate technology other than using it for the fun reasons, really. I love using it for my business, but I hate all this behind the scenes stuff. Like, it doesn't interest me either, and I don't really want to and like learning it. So I guess it's a resistance thing too. But I mean, of course, if we're going to try and build our business, we have to learn new things. But do we say if we're very stuck on this kind of stuff, do we get any of this included with helping to create our Facebook ads, or do we just, like, I think Ellie's husband, he does IT as well, doesn't he?
I don't know. I don't know him personally.
Yeah.
But I can always help out as well. And it's basically what I do for a living. You know, I didn't come out here to pitch anybody, but you know, I can help out as well. I just wanted to show everybody what they could do if they wanted to. Yeah,
because there's so much. I think it's just way too broad, and I feel like you have to be quite experienced to target all this correctly. Like, I feel like I would probably, even though I know what my target is, I would probably just get so confused with all of that behind the scenes stuff.
Okay. Well, you know, let's talk about it in the group, and I'm a resource as well. You know, if you wanted to go that route. But in general, I think that if you wanted to give it a shot, it's really not as intimidating as you might think. And honestly, they want you to advertise because obviously that's their business model, and they made it possible. You basically create a campaign, you tell it what kind of things that you want to do, and you ultimately can generate something super fast. I mean, you could have something, you know, running in the next couple hours if you wanted to. If you wanted to.
If we all tried to do our own Facebook ad just to try a trial of it, so would we have to just put in a certain amount of money that we're going to spend to do a trial?
Right. Each ad set, as in each set of targeting, is $5 a day is the minimum.
Okay.
So just keep that in mind. You could test out.
So how much do you need to be spending to actually get a decent reach, though?
Well, it all kind of depends on how many people you want to focus on. But, you know, create a few different ad sets and just have it at the $5 or $10 a day and run it. And
see how much interaction you get.
Exactly.
Would there be a minimum amount of days to wait till you get hits?
Well, it really depends what you're going for and how valuable it is, right? In general, things that are very expensive and have a high threshold to sign up are going to be more expensive to get people to actually sign up, right? Right. If you're going to offer a $10,000 offer, then you know it's going to be really expensive. But if you're doing a webinar, or if you're just giving away an ebook or something, then that could be a really good test. Give something that's very easy. Yeah, but you know, if you have further questions, let's talk in the group, and if you wanted to, you know, talk to me privately, then you know we can arrange that as well. You can just message me on Facebook if you like. I think my computer is going to be dying pretty soon. So. Yeah. So unless I'll take another last question now, if anybody has like a last one.
Yeah.
Anybody?
David?
Sure.
Just a couple of quick things. Like, so you're saying if we have a web form, like a page, like, you know, chuck the, you know, say if we don't have a landing page or a website currently, we can put the pixel on there and it'll be getting the data we need. Great.
That's right.
And
If you have a list, you can upload it directly to Facebook, even without a website.
Yep. Collect the leads that way as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you're going to need some place to have a form for people to sign up for you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And like, say, but the page that we're on right now, and for like people who are sort of a bit overwhelmed by this, I was feeling like that earlier this year, and I spent like, a bit of time learning how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I can just say to all my friends here that as soon as you've got an offer or a form, and maybe like David said, some copy and a Canva image, the page that he's sharing with us right now from start to finish, once you've done it half a dozen times, you could build the ad in about 10 minutes. Once you know your target audience, like all the bits and pieces that he's shown us are all really handy tools and bits of information. But maybe like just a suggestion for you, David, if you get the time, like this page here where it goes through the campaign, the ad set, and then the ad, if you could show us, just how it runs. I mean, I've done it myself like dozens of times, but it is quite overwhelming to go through all of that if you have no idea. But you've definitely given heaps of value. For me anyway, like I had questions, like I've gone through all of this stuff and I always get stuck at the split testing phase.
Mm-hmm.
I run through all this stuff. I'm still sort of not sure what the marketing objective, like the best one to go for is. That's usually where I get stuck.
As far as getting signups?
Yeah. Like, if you've got an ebook or a website, it's like, do you want a lead ad? Do you want to, traffic, website clicks? Like there's so many options there.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I personally like wonder, because you can split test within a few of those objectives as well as against each objective.
Sure. No, the main thing to try out if you're offering something and you have a sign up is conversions.
Yep.
So you'd want to go into conversions, and for example, you can name it whatever you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I can just run through this real quickly. My computer might die though, FYI, while we're going through this. But you can see that it'll actually ask you which website you're talking about, and so my computer's probably slowing down because it's slowly dying. But
it's on the way out.
Here you go, and this is exactly the stuff I was referencing with the audience insights. In fact, you can actually save stuff from audience insights and just upload it here. But this is exactly where you put in the location and the age.
So someone was saying that you can actually do it on income as well, but I've never been able to find the place to put that in.
Yeah, there is specific types of things. It's under, I think it's demographics. So under browse, you'll get their main offerings as far as targeting.
Right. Yeah.
You can just go to financial, and you can actually find people.
Oh, okay, awesome. Oh, thank you.
If you wanted to find people who are, let's say, you only want to have $1 million clients, that'd be fantastic. And there's different types of things you can do. Life event, people who just got married, people who just got a new job. It's surprising how much people have, or how much Facebook has on us.
Yeah, I've always just used suggestions. I never realized that browse option was there. So that's really awesome.
Oh, great. Yeah. You can look at politics, so relationship status. And this is all stuff you can think about when you're developing your avatar. And you can basically just put your avatar here. And like we were discussing earlier, when you want to split test, just try out one set of interests versus another one in another ad set. And basically you just select one of these. In fact, I could just create an ad set just off of the age right now. But, obviously you'd want to have more than that. You'd want to go through browse, take a look, and as you start putting in more and more things, it'll suggest based on, what you've already put in. So you can do all sorts of things, but just keep it very simple. Just focus on a few interests, and then you'll see that this reach is way, way too big. That's what I was saying before. You want to maybe have just a couple 100,000 people, because it's targeting like everybody in America. That's that age, and then just throw in $5. So I hope
$5 a day, you mean?
Yeah, that's the minimum, right? So I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
It was very great. I enjoyed it. Thank you, David, so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, David.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Hope that was helping somebody.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm glad. It really isn't as complicated as I probably made it seem, but give it a shot. Honestly, give it a shot, and like we were saying earlier, you could have an ad up in 10 minutes once you get used to it. And then if you have questions, you can reach out to me. You can message me privately if you want.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you.
Take care.
Bye.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
How do I get off?